Hey, this Bob D, aka the Ambien Kid, with my boy Big Bourbon. Show 'em. That's right.
Small bourbon right now. That's just because Big Bourbon been hitting on it a little bit. Go
Well,
ahead.
you
Go
can't be
for it.
called Big Bourbon unless the bourbon's big. Um, I'm gonna tell you a story that you probably have never heard from me. One
I doubt,
day,
I doubt
one
that's.
day we were up at Toco Hills area at Maggie's and just getting completely hammered drunk. And the guy that I was with
Oh, what's the
was
surprise?
yeah, this is a shocker. Was a semi friend of mine, and he was like, "Hey man, you need a ride?" And I said, "Yeah, dude, I'll take a ride." I was like, "You look a little faded. You want me to drive?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty faded." And I said, "All right, I got you." So we go down. I don't know what the street's called in front of Toco Hills, but we come over the top of the ridge, and all of a sudden we see a huge DeKalb County roadblock. And
Ooh,
this was a roadblock that was made to catch people because they had two free safeties um, in the back, which
running the
means,
stopwatch so we know how much time you've been in. Go ahead.
okay,
A big, giant, fat DeKalb County roadblock.
huge. And we're pulling up to the line and all that shit. And I was like, is there anything I need to know about your car, driving it? And he said, Bobby, I hate to tell you this. This car's stolen, and there's a pound of weed in the back of the trunk. And I turned for a second, John.
Well, we
And
just went to age restricted.
no, I turned to him to hit him, and then I went, "Damn it, I got work to do before I can hit you and beat you up. I got to get me out of this mess." So we're in this line, and it's a long line. There's probably about, I don't know, 400 cars in front of us. I can see the free safeties in the back, which are the cop cars that if you turn around, they're going to
Yeah, they're
pick you
gonna.
up.
Yeah, mhm.
And I just said, you know what? I'm dipping to this apartment complex to the right, and I pulled out of the line and hauled ass as quick as I could go and got to, and by that time, the free safety's on me. He's coming from behind. The guys are coming from, the front. Yep, yep, yep. And the whole time I'm cussing him out like, you dick. Don't ever put me in a stolen car with weed. Blah, blah, blah.
Stare
I
into the camera.
Okay. I get into
Bag.
the
Yeah, there you
I
go.
get I get into the apartment complex that was on the right, probably about I probably got 15 seconds before the cop cars do. I did the old school uh, out of the car, but I didn't let the car go at full capacity. I dropped it down into neutral and just let it bump, into the garbage cans that were in the thing, in the apartment complex. And we jumped out of the car right then and there, out of a moving car, probably going 5, 10 miles an hour. And I was like, I feel pretty confident that this is not going to mess up anybody's house, hit a kid, hit anybody. I saw where the car was headed. It was headed towards the trash, so the big dumpsters. And I just said, let's go. And he followed me, and all of a sudden, 4 or 5 cop cars come in, and we literally jumped off a wall into the nastiest marsh, ivy, muddy. I don't know what you
Knew it
would
was going to
call it.
go that way.
Yes,
It's not going to be
and
a clean run.
no, no,
But you know
no,
what?
and
That's the
no, it was
best scenario because they don't want to jump into that shit.
no, no, no. And I'm telling you, this was a 15-foot drop off. So we jumped. Luckily,
I
we
mean, it's about
landed.
7. Go ahead.
We no, it was 15, and um, we hit the mud and it was deep, and it was the kind of place that like beavers build dams and shit.
Beaver
And
still dams.
no, there's a lot of ivy,
No, I'm
and
just
so
saying that's great. That's a great name for the video. Beaver
yeah,
still. Go ahead.
and so I said, all right, man, now listen, dude, I know you're not gonna like this, but submerge yourself in the water and the mud. It's actually mud, and just get all that mud all over you, like Rambo type shit, in a POW camp. And I said, just sit back until you hear the dogs, and when the dogs come, then we're going back under again. And so they pulled over. Some Weisenheimer said, yeah, they went running that way. And so they unleashed probably 15, 20 cops, but they didn't know that we had jumped off of, because they're like, who's the craziest? Who would be crazy enough to do that? And so there's a helicopter over us. We're in the mud.
Oh
We
my,
are literally in the mud. They got the dogs out. They got no scent, no trail because the mud kills it, I guess. And we're like, literally,
okay. This is
we're
like this is
we're
like
in
the
the
fugitive
yeah,
fucking
no, no, no.
movie.
We're in the
Jumping off the
ivy,
train as it hits.
and he tries to hold my hand under the mud, and I just was like, pushing him off like, you punk, you're the reason I'm here. And so that went on, John, for like 20 minutes, and they didn't know where we were. And we hid out in the most scummiest mud, lily pad infested uh, drainage,
Yeah, you
whatever.
didn't come out and peel leeches off of your windows.
I probably did. But all I know is that after an hour of looking, they left because they couldn't find us. And we went back to the bar that we had started at. We walked up to
Covered
that.
in mud and shit.
Yes. And I was going to punch him, but I'd been through too much to be enraged.
You're walking through
And
a public establishment covered head to toe in
in
mud.
mud, but it's my bar, so I'm not worried. And Richard, Richard. I'm sure you know Richard, the bartender from Toco Hills. Um, whatever. He
Maybe.
goes, he
Yeah.
goes, he goes, man,
Toco Hill's fucking famous.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we showed up to the bar and got a drink, and this guy was just Bob D's the man. He got us out of whatever.
Jail time freaking
And,
situation.
and yeah, it was literally like that. And he was like, everybody started talking to me and going, man, what'd you do? And I was like, I don't really want to talk about it. I just
That's the
got
last
out.
thing you want to do is talk about it. I mean, shit. The
But
self.
but you know what I'm proud about is I peeled off going like 100 to the apartment complex. But when I got to the apartment complex, I shot it down to neutral, stopped the brakes, everything, and the car just drifted like
So
Jack.
you ran in hot,
Yes,
slammed on the brakes, threw it into neutral, spat out of the freaking door, and told your boy
yes,
dump, and it was like 5 mile an hour roll,
yeah,
and
yes,
you got the presence of mind to look in front of the car and see it's a benign situation and no one's going to get hurt, let it roll, and hit the wall.
yes, yes. And he
And you
did
know what?
not want.
That's what we
Didn't want
call spontaneous.
situational theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, and there's a lot of people that don't know how to react to those situations,
No,
and they don't react at the level that you need to react. Like you went, we need to go fucking in the swamp. No, we're
yes, and we
but
did.
anybody else like with him, and even have the presence of mind to make sure that the car just didn't fucking 40 mile an hour roll into property and cause injury potentially and stuff like that. I mean, that's good stuff. And you know what? That might have saved you. You know what I'm saying? When you think about karma
It
and
did
stuff,
save us.
and making it so that no one else got hurt, but given a percentage opportunity to succeed at getting out of there. I mean, maybe that's another thing that's unique about both you and I is seem to find ourselves in situations like that where it takes
Yeah,
savvy
I
and
was
fucking
just
finesse
like,
to get out of it. I've been in situations that took a lot of finesse, a lot of
yes.
personality, diplomacy, you name it. But
I, wa-
I wouldn't
I
have had
want
to have the finesse if I wasn't in that situation
no,
to begin
I
with.
want John. I wanted to hit him, but I mean, he was
What's to be gained? I mean, what the hell are you gonna freaking gain from punching
no,
him?
no, no. He was just the whole time. This guy is the freaking MacGyver of all MacGyvers. He can get you out of any situation, and I'm just like, all right, man, easy with the praises. Just buy my alcohol and
I know.
the weed that you lost. I'm
Well,
sorry about that,
plus
but
it's you don't want to be real and go. You don't know how close your ass was to going to jail for a long time, and you're fucking sitting here like you had something. We always had friends that were they were the ones bragging after the scene, but they were the ones that didn't do shit and actually
no.
potentially blew it up. You know, like
I'll tell you
you
another
almost blew it
story.
up 2 or 3 times, and you're over here fucking.
He stopped when came to the ledge and it was a 15-foot drop, and I literally said, "If you don't jump, I'm throwing you off of this." And he looked at me and I just jumped. I mean, I went out like uh, Carl Lewis. I was like just way out there,
Yeah.
and he jumped like maybe 2 feet. So
No, no, no.
he
So you jump way off because as you're going through the air, it gives you more wiggle room at the final
yes.
fall. If you drop straight down, you don't have any momentum where you can tumble roll. You can't do any of that shit. You drop,
No,
you
but
drop flat.
we got out of it, man, and it was one of those things where I was like, of course we got out of it. So, we went back and I was a god, at the bar, and all I was saying was, somebody give me a towel to clean this mud off of me, and then give me some drinks. And he
Another
was like,
story where Bob D is the hero.
well, I wasn't the hero, I was a survivor,
Oh,
man.
you're a hero for yourself. That's for damn sure.
I'll tell you this, I don't ride with people in stolen cars and drugs in the back.
Except for
Um,
this one time.
yeah, because it's always right around the corner from your house, isn't it? Isn't it?
Oh,
It's
we talking about
always.
at 17 doing fishtails in your daddy's Jetta and
Hmm.
get popped for a DUI? That kind of fucking shit? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that was an interesting night.